G'day legends, welcome to the Thursday Sesh on Celtic Down Under. I'm your host Jared and I'm joined by Willie at the moment and potentially Ian a bit later on. How you going, Willie?
I'm going all right. I had a bit of a disaster day, but it's shaped up a little bit better this afternoon, and things managed to get home in one piece, so all good there.
Happy days, mate, happy days. At least it's on the up and up, that's the main thing.
Uh,
Yeah, we've had a week off over the international break as we always do on the pod, so I'm keen as mustard to get back into it. Had to use that saying. There's only really three main topics to talk about recently. The unrest and statements going here, there, and everywhere, and what's going to happen off the back of that, and then we've got the Europa League matches that we haven't spoken about on this channel yet, and then also the preview our game on the weekend. So yeah, I think we'll just get straight into it. So what we'll do is we'll start off with the Europa League fixtures, Willie. Just buy a bit of time here, build a bit of suspense for the main conversation topic, which could go off the rails, right? It could be a 10-minute chat. We could go for hours. So I'll get this topic up first. So we had our draw here, and it looks like there's like a rule that every team we play either has to have red, black, or white in their logo. That was the first thing I looked at. But yeah, we got Red Star Belgrade, Braga, a bunch of other teams, Midtjylland, Feyenoord, Roma, Bologna, Utrecht, and then can never remember which one of the, I think it's Sturm Graz, is it, or something like that? I can't read it. But anyway, so we got Red Star away. That's going to be fun. That'll be a great away day. I'm jealous of everyone going there. Yeah. And then off the back of that, Braga at home. I think it's Sturm Graz at home. And then away to Midtjylland, away to Feyenoord. That'll be another fun away trip. Home against Roma, away against Bologna, and then finishing off with the return of the Cabbage Hands, Mr. Barkas himself. So, yeah, it's going to be an interesting draw. What's your thoughts on the fixtures we got there, Willie, and who we're going to be playing?
it's pretty difficult draw we've got, and I mean it's a tough start away to Red Star Belgrade. They've been in the Champions League the same time we have of late, so it's going to be tough fight. And with our lack of firepower present at the moment, it's going to be a lot tougher than I think it would have been if we'd got our act together and got the players in. And if we'd done that, we might have been able to given a good tilt at this competition. But I don't know. I'm struggling to get excited for it, and I just I worry about it actually, like because there's some tough away days there. I mean, Bologna and Roma are not going to be easy. Neither's Red Star Belgrade away from home. Braga are going to be a pretty tough team to try and break down in our own patch. So it'll be interesting to see how it pans out. But I think we're in for a bit of a tough time of it. Like.
Yeah, there's some winnable games. That's the way I look at it. There's a bunch of games there that could go. The easiest way to sum it up is they could go either way. Like there's no games last year where you looked at it and said, yeah, we'll win that one. So going to be a bit interesting. What we'll do is we'll add Ian into the mix now he's here. Hey Ian, how are you?
Hi guys, how you doing?
Good to see you, mate.
Sorry, I'm
Looking
late.
all professional. Oh, good.
Yeah.
We're just talking about the Europa League fixtures at the moment, just trying to buy a bit of time till you got here. So we're just going through what the fixtures are. And Willie just said that there's a lot of tough ones there. For me, I think there's a lot of games that could go either way. Like Roma's going to be a tough game. Bologna will be tough. Feyenoord, as Willie said, and Red Star will be tough away days. But Braga, Midtjylland, Utrecht, those are ones I look at thinking we could potentially pick up the 3 points in. So all we've got to do is get into that 9 through to 24 mark to get through the next round there. But what's your thoughts on the Europa League draw there?
Well, I suppose it all hinges on the mood of the camp. How motivated is Brendan going to be? Is it going to be kind of like that kind of the 10 in a row season, or the sort of the loss of the 10 in a row season where the mood in the camp, the morale's low, so it's kind of like ends up becoming sort of the dampest of squibs. I'm hoping not. I hope Brendan Rodgers, in spite of everything that's going on, galvanises the team, and we have a right good go at it. Because I think we did a bit of a straw poll last season when we the question was going around the group chat. Would we forego the Champions League for a season if it meant we could have a right good run in the Europa League? Some said yes, some said no. I kind of said yes. Actually, I thought glory's better than the money. I don't know whether they're actually still subscribed to that now, but Rangers got to the final and nearly won it. They were a penalty kick away from winning it, so there's no good reason why we couldn't, with the squad that we could have had, gone all the way. I know I'm going around the houses to answer the question, but yeah, I think in terms of the Europa League, it shoulda. It's kind of go. I think we could sort of file it in the shoulda. Should have done all right, but I've got a feeling that we're going to just sort of crash and burn.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at it here, and some of the comments here, like Henrik McLaughlin saying, let's face it, at the moment, they're all tough. And then McLaughlin saying, after McDermott Park, the Scottish Cup final, and the 2 Claret games, anyone can beat us now, plus the 4 derbies we failed in this year. So if you put all that together, plus you look at our squad makeup at the moment, it's going to be tough, but there's winnable games. It's one thing that I look at 100% is of the 8 fixtures. Realistically, I think that there's a possibility if everything went to plan, we could win 6 of them. I don't expect us to win 6. 100%. I'm making sure that is stated. There's 3 there that I think we should get the wins in, but there's 3 there that are question marks. But if they all went our way, we could be absolutely flying. But the issue is, as Willie, you mentioned earlier, is we didn't strengthen. So here's the registered Europa League squad. So this is thanks to the boys page who shared that. So I'll give them credit because it's the right thing to do here. But we've got 3 keepers in Schmeichel, Sinisalo and Doohan. Then we've got right back, we've got Johnson and Ralston. Left back, we've got Tierney and Srirachi. And then in the middle, we've got Carter Vickers, Scales, Murray and Trusty. Then middle of the park, the biggest weak spot in my mind looking at this here, first of all, McGregor has no backup. That'll probably be Bernardo. But then you've got Nigren, Engels, Hatade, McCowan. So the midfield's okay. And then you look up front, you've got Kenny and I always get his name wrong, Iheanacho, Big Kaleni. On the right, you've got Yang and Forrest. And then on the left, you've got Maida, Balakwisha and Tenekti. So you've got 3 left wingers. The right wing is pretty weak. So people are going to have to play out of position on the right. We've only got the 2 strikers because you probably have Maida as the 3rd striker. But yeah, I'll just get your thoughts, Willie, on that squad.
Yeah, the striking, the forward areas gives me a bit of a, I don't know. We don't know what Balakwisha and Tenekti are going to do. Hopefully, they'll turn out to be pretty good. And if you put Maeda in the centre in front of them, it could work out. But that right side gives me the fear because James, like I say, James Forrest, you're lucky if you'll get 60 minutes out of him nowadays. And Young, well, Young shouldn't be near the Celtic squad. Playing Young in the qualifying games now is the equivalent of playing Near Beaton at centre half because you're just waiting for the window to get the players in. But that's past and gone, and we haven't got any replacements for him. And I just think there's a lack of firepower in that team right now, and that's where I think our biggest failing is going to be.
The squad's strong enough for Scottish football, not for European. Even if that was in the Conference League, the front 6 or 7 there's question marks. What do you think, Ian?
Yeah, I agree. We've lost 50 odd goals. With Kyogo, Kuhn, Anida. That's a lot of goals to take out of a team, and it's you look at the players that we could have got. Is it Strelec that went to Middlesbrough, scoring Waldies for his country, and I just don't understand why we didn't actually go out and get an established striker, at least one. They owed us two, and they got none. Well, we did. We got one through obviously Iannucci via the back door, but he may end up proving one of those kind of like happy accidents. I hope he does. I really hope he does. And the fact that now that the action's happening with the board, it means they're not off the hook no matter what happens. If you think about the squad that we had last year that did all right in the Champions League, we should be winning the Europa League this year if we had that team kept together. But Willie, I agree with you wholeheartedly that up front we don't. And the fact that Brendan's not put Shin in, Shin looked like he's as fast as Maeda, or apparently faster actually. His work rate was good. He's a sort of keen young Turk. He wants to do well. So I don't know why he wasn't given a chance and put in the squad. Brendan obviously knows a lot more than we do. I hope it wasn't petulance on Brendan's behalf, and kind of like point scoring with the board because it's not his signing. Because ultimately, we all profess to love Celtic. The board professes to love Celtic. Brendan professes to love Celtic. If you love Celtic, you put aside your own personal squabbles and you put the team and the club first. So I think we've gone into that squad just highlights how weak we are up front. So we're going to be a bit toothless. I know Brendan likes to spread the goals around his team, but that's taken it a bit far.
It's also, like as you said, leaving Shin out. What's the point of bringing in Simpson Pusey on loan if he's not in the squad? What was the whole purpose of that loan? I don't know. And the other one is, how long's Alistair Johnson out for? Till Christmas. That's one rumour is Christmas, one is he's back in a month. So who knows, right? So why are we doing that? Like, realistically, Srirachi can play on the right and on the left, so he gives you some cover over there, but you need someone else for Tierney to back up. You don't want to push Scales out, so realistically, you should be having Inamura in the squad as well. So there's a lot of question marks there, but I'll just bring up some comments, Willie.
Yep.
So Pete McGee, that front seven gives me the fear. Robert Gibson with another cracker of a comment here. That front seven couldn't score if they fell into a bag of fannies. And then you've got Pete McGee saying, compare that with our front players when we had the likes of Jota, Kun, Kyogo, Abada, etc. So it's a bit of a weird one. And then we've got omitting Shin. Yeah, but the thing with we got the whole thing with Icheneo, Archer, however you say it. The thing with him, right, is he hasn't done well his last two clubs, but he's a natural finisher. And I think if we can actually create chances, he could do some damage. But are we going to keep passing the ball backwards? Who knows? So, do you want to keep talking about that? Go on.
No, I was going to say that's another thing as well. I think Brendan came out and says that he's not teaching the players to pass sideways or backwards. Do you remember that famous footage of Ange saying stop passing the ball fucking backwards? And he was so vehement in it, in that true and indomitable Aussie way that he had, which was a refreshment. Obviously, we know and love that Aussie attitude, that Aussie confidence, but in the UK, it's not as widely known and appreciated. So, he was the boss, and he was sure he was the boss by, in no uncertain terms, play the ball forward, at every opportunity. Now I know it's different styles with Brendan, but it was the same in his third season the last time. That predictable, slow, turgid, yawny football, where I know they're trying to they're playing backwards to supposed to go forwards, but too much time languishing on the ball, sort of lingering on the ball, sorry, and then opportunities are lost. So I don't know. We need an injection of energy. We need an injection of, as it says, we need to find some resilience now, and I hope Brendan just goes all in and says, right, let's just Kevin Keegan style in the 90s with Newcastle, just all out attack. Let's just go for it because I think that's probably our best forward defence.
Makes the most sense. So which one of you had the cop Cisco past you?
That was me, sorry.
Me.
Don't make
Good fun. Yeah, so it's a bit of an interesting one here. We'll see how it plays out, but obviously we all know what's going on. Yes, Craigie White, good luck to Ange at Forest. He was never coming back to Celtic. I know people were talking about getting him back. It was never going to happen because Ange always says he wants to learn something and move on to his next challenge. He's never gone back to a club he's managed. It was never going to happen. So good luck to him there. Hope he does well. And yeah, if we don't win the Europa League, I wouldn't mind seeing him go back-to-back in different clubs. That'd be hilarious. But anyway, well, next main talking point, obviously, statements from here, there, and everywhere. So we all know what's going on with the whole situation. Board put out a statement. Over 50% of it was written by AI. Then they've changed bits and pieces, and they put it out with no name on it. There's a massive supporters association, backlash, and 3 different associations, whole bunch of fan media, different CSCs, over 400 and I think it's 420 signees, signatories are on that. Big mail outs happened with emails for everyone to jump in and answer some questions just to get a rough feel. So it's going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. For me, I think what we can do is we'll just get a general, your thoughts, boys. So we'll start with you, Willie. Your thoughts on the club statement and, just the general feel before we get into the actual meetings and everything.
Yeah, the club statement. I don't know what the club were thinking. They must have been buffing some serious amount of ketamine before they released that statement, because that's just made the situation so much worse. I mean, I picked out 3 lines from it. One is, these funds are used in a measured fashion for investment in recruitment, infrastructure, and long-term development. We will always listen to our supporters as one. Our clear goal is to secure new signings as early in each transfer window as possible so that the players can integrate quickly to contribute to the outset of the season. And the third one that I've got is, we all share the same ambition to see Celtic succeed on the pitch while remaining strong and secure off it. Are they fucking serious? I mean, I think the modern terminology is gaslighting. And when my kids ask me, Dad, what is gaslighting? I'm going to whip that statement out and go, read this. This is what gaslighting is all about. This is a prime example of somebody trying to tell you everything's okay or everything is fine, and they're doing everything they can, and it's all your fault. And that, like I said 2 weeks ago, that the board was aloof when we failed in the Kairat game. I says the board will be sitting in that director's box, all aloof, thinking, oh, this looks like a you issue, but we're doing our job. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, on a Saturday night, they release a statement which pretty much proves it beyond all reasonable doubt to me that they are just detached from reality from the rest of the club. And I just can't believe it. I mean, it's just, I don't know. I just, where is Dermot Desmond in all this? Because there must be disconnect between the board and him too, because he is a bona fide billionaire. There is no way in any business across anywhere on this globe, if a board of directors is failing in such a manner that the chief shareholder would turn around and allow things like this to continue. It's just a joke,
Yeah, so on that, I'm just going to bring up a comment here from Henrik McLaughlin. The Huddle Breakdown broke down that statement as pish and lies 100%. That was a great pod by Alan and the team over at the Huddle Breakdown, so check that out if you want. Maestro is saying the club statement has brought the fans together. And yeah, exactly that. It's one of them things for me where I look at it and go, how you could double down and go, it's not a me problem, it's a you problem, when everyone is carrying on the way they are. It's just, and I mean, carrying on is not a bad term. Like, we're carrying on because we care about this club and we think what's happening isn't good enough. So the fact that all of this has happened is just not good enough. And we want better for the club that we all love, we all emotionally support, we all financially support by buying season tickets, buying merch, buying one of the 7,000 bloody Adidas merch drops every week. We're all supporting this club in our own way, and we feel like we're just being treated like, the random in the corner who's just like, sit down, shut up, do what you're told. And that's just not good enough. So, yeah, what I'll do is we'll go through the associations. What happened off the back of that was there's a fan consultation meeting which was held at Grace's last night. And what they did was it was just to get one person for each of the 420 signatories from the meeting to come along, voice an opinion, and say their bit, right, and discuss what the plans are for the future. So what we'll do is I'll go through what the plan was, the agenda, and then the vote thing that we said, and I'll tell you how I voted on each of these for Celtic Down Under as well, and my reason why, and I'll get Willie and Ian to also give their opinion on what they would have voted. So basically, the agenda was to get everyone together. It's because it's United, and we're trying to build a collective for supporters associations, fan media, and so on and so forth, right? So they had fan action, what the next steps are in the survey was the next step survey, and then any potential objectives. Then it was the fan action, what the next things we want to do are. Then they had an open floor discussion, and they want to build a steering group for that. So it's good to see that we're all pulled in the same direction. So basically, from the survey, there was over 38,000 responses in 3 days. That's just general stuff, so they couldn't actually figure it out. So the questions that were asked, and I'll ask each question, and I'll give you boys a chance to answer and say your reason, what you would do. And then I'll say what I voted as well, and then we'll go on to the next one. So the first question was potential objectives. Do you endorse a vote of no confidence in the Celtic board? 99.4% said yes. Willie?
100%. Absolutely no confidence at all in them.
And Ian?
Yeah, exactly the same. They've earned it.
And that was a yes for me. Then, would you endorse a call for the removal of Michael Nicholson, the CEO? 99.3% said yes. Chris Mackay, so I'll just go through this first. The CFO, 98.5% said yes. And Peter Lawwell, chairman, 98.8% said yes. So, Willie, Michael Nicholson?
Like, clear the decks, just get them all out. Like,
and Ian, get them all out as well.
I think so. But like Liam Carrigan said on Axum last week, and I agree with him, and I agree with him on that as well. Which is you've got to get. I think he said you've got to cut the serpent's head off, otherwise it will keep growing back. And I think not I'm saying Desmond's a serpent. He's done lots of great stuff for us, but without Desmond going, what's the point? He's just going to put more puppets in place in situ to carry out the same stuff.
And that's exactly my point too, Ian. Like, I said yes to all of them, but my big issue is you take away Nicholson, you put Don Mackay in there, he lasted, 6 weeks? Because he's not a board yes man. So then you put Nicholson in that chair, you got Mackay there, Lawwell. They're all Dermot Desmond's puppets. There's little playthings, do as I say, even though I'm the majority shareholder, doesn't own the majority shares, but is the largest shareholder. So, yeah, unless something changes and what their remit for those positions changes, we're just going to end up with different names, different faces doing the same old. So, Willie, the next one was, would you endorse a call to implement a fan advisory board at Celtic?
Yeah, we need to have fan representation on the board, because right now the disconnect has only gotten wider over the years, and the fact that we don't have fans on the board shows that, you know what I mean? There's nobody up there speaking for us to get our point across to them. And when it comes down to the AGMs and stuff like that, when they do sit and listen to the fans, they vet the questions. You know what I mean? And they just go out there, pick what they want to answer, poke a little bit of fun at Rangers, get off the stage as quick as they can, and that's it, all over and done with. So we do need fan representation on the board, because right now they're just not listening, and they think this is their plaything to do with as they want, and we need to sit down, shut up, and just accept what their decision making will be. And it's not working anymore. Like,
Yeah, and Ian?
I think it's been needed for a long time. It's the club sort of purport to be this sort of progressive, forward-thinking club, but really, it is like akin to like North Korea, the way it's been. Excuse me, the way that sort of the fans have been treated. That it's just the echo chamber. They pat each other in the back, and then if they really feel necessary, they'll release some statement, or they'll come back with some form of feedback. But generally, it's just cues in the dark.
Yeah. So the next things there was, I've just lost the screen behind me here. There we go. Sorry about the voice to everyone, but next one was, would you endorse the idea of a democratic Celtic fan body? What do you think, Willie?
yeah, I wouldn't oppose to that, because change is needed, and obviously, it's change will bring about fresh ideas. So yeah, I would definitely be for that. We need something. We need something fast.
And Ian, if you stopped coughing and choking and spluttering and everything, would you endorse the idea of a democratic Celtic fan body?
Sorry, the change of the seasons. I've had a low level cold for ages. It kicked in last week, so apologies for me coughing and spluttering. I've not got a 70-a-day habit. So sorry, what was the question again, mate? I was coughing my guts up there.
Would you endorse the idea of a democratic Celtic fan body?
Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, I was yes on both of them as well. So, just skimming over the notes, basically, general notes, not going to give out too many details from it because we want to keep it where, like we're told, but general notes was about unity for all the Celtic groups. The plan for the meeting was just to get a collective discussion of various ideas and planning. Yeah. Oh, great. Yeah, well, sorry about that. The old man's just trying to call me. Lovely. Yeah, and then it was just about a few things here. So what they were talking about was what the next stage actions were. So would you endorse a call to withdraw from the home ticket cup scheme? Willie?
Um, if I was still a season ticket holder, I would be seriously considering that option. But again, I wouldn't hold it against it, because you need to back the team. It's the board we need to be aiming at, not the team. You know what I mean? The team need our support. They need all of us there for them. So I don't know. And like, if I was to take my support off the home match ticket scheme, it gives other people a chance to step in. So you might still get the sellout sort of crowds, and it might be a chance for someone to bring their kids to the game for the first time. You know what I mean? I'm not going to hold it against it. Against anyone who doesn't do it. Like, but if I was still a season ticket holder, I would probably revoke my home match ticket scheme. Yeah.
What do you reckon, Ian?
No, I would endorse it, and Willie, I echo that as well. It's like, if people choose to go, I'm totally supportive of that. But equally, I would expect those that choose not to do it, that they're supported as well. There's an understanding of why it's happening. It's kind of like that kind of when you got to discipline your child. It's like, it's harder for me than it is for you. In terms of denying them device time, whatever it might be, any small scale. It's hard for you to sort of deny your child something, but it's for the greater good, and it's not that Celtic is our child, but it's our great love, and
Yeah.
it's hard. It's harder for us to have to take these actions, but necessary, in my view.
Yeah, for me, I'll look at it and go, it doesn't really affect me being on the other side of the world here, but I think that question, I actually voted no on that one. And also the next question was, would you endorse a call to boycott UEFA Europa League fixtures? I voted no on both of those two. And the only reason is, first of all, I know someone else will buy the tickets anyway. Second of all, at the end of the day, I want the protests to be targeted to a certain area and the board and not be something that's going to potentially cause distractions and take away from the players on the pitch in big games. So that's why I voted that way on them. What about the Europa League fixtures? Willie, would you boycott that, or would you?
I probably would have taken the Europa League package, to be honest with you, because I used to try and get four of us in a car down to it, and it would be a good day out for us all. But again, if people are going to say no, and they're going to take the home match ticket scheme for the Europa League, take that package, I wouldn't hold that against them either, because again, it's about supporting the team and having this argument with the board and not affecting the team. And European football, like it's what we all want to see. Where we need to be sort of testing ourselves, because we've basically completed Scottish football. We're just walking it at the moment. So European football is going to be where we're going to test ourselves, and it is the better games. You know what I mean? So it's better value for money. But if people aren't going to take it, hopefully there'll be some sort of percentage that the board can look at, the same with the whole match ticket scheme, and say, well, look, we've dropped off 10-15% on the sales, so the renew or the automatic ticket schemes things, and hopefully that will make them sit up and take notice that people are actually taking these protests kind of seriously. But then, like I say before, you know what I mean, if people do say no to that, it might be a chance for families to bring their kids to their first European games and get that whole experience. You know what I mean? Get the half and half scarf for the UEFA, get the ticket inside the program, and give them a memory to share. You know what I mean? But you don't want to see it turning sort of bitter and horrible. You know what I mean? It is about. I mean, we need to support. Like I say, we need to support the team and vent our anger at the board in some way or another. But there needs to be a sort of happy medium between the two.
Just on the Europa League thing there, Willie, like what you're saying, like the board will find some sort of mental gymnastics to be like, oh, those tickets were renewed at a higher level as champions. Like, oh, it must be because we're in the second comp, we're in the Europa League. They'll put it down to that instead of it being a reflection of them.
Yeah.
So I don't see how that's going to be the thing. But Ian, what's your thoughts?
I think if we're going to protest, it's going to, as I say, it's painful for us, but we've got to suffer it by not attending. Let's be frank here. The reason this is happening is because of the board. This is the board's actions. So any ramifications it has on the team on the park, you trace it back to the source, and that's the board. So I think sort of picking and choosing, that that's a sexy game. I'll go to that one. I think the discipline is that it's targeted, it's peaceful, it's not toxic, it's measured, and it's done with reason, and it's guys, enough is enough. This is against our DNA is to not go to these games to support our club, but we feel that the only power that you've allowed us is to do this, which is vote with our feet, and for us to use our words with statements, and for us to galvanise and to come together and to create for a force of change.
Yeah, I already think the players have been where you're saying, like, if we take away the support in the stadium, the players are already copping it because they haven't been adequately had players replacements come in. They've already copped it from the board on that front. So that's one of those tough ones. But yeah, the next question was, would you endorse a call to boycott all Celtic products except tickets? Yes.
It's a yes for me on that as well. They're ripping the eyes at the fans with the merchandise at the minute, man. It's every week, and they're sitting there right now. They've got the fourth kit, and whether that's a trefoil kit or what, that's sitting there waiting to be released, and it'll be eating away at them that they can't do it right now because they know it's going to be really bad for PR if they try and release that at any minute now. But I dare say there'll be a few other bits of kit and merch that have been sitting there that have been put on hold because of this kind of reaction. So if you were going to start boycotting the Adidas gear, Adidas would certainly take umbrage to it and say, well, hang on a second, you might be a top tier club. How are they not buying this merchandise we're making for them? Like, so yeah, that would probably make people sit up and take notice if you started doing that.
Got anything to add on that, Ian?
I agree with it with the boycott. And let's look at another aspect as well. The sponsors will already be unhappy with the fact that the fact that they've gone for this extended 10-year deal. They want to see their product in the Champions League, and I'd say that's why Celtic were elevated to a so-called elite club. So I'm sure there'll be rumblings from the sponsors anyway. I agree with you, Willie. It's far too much merch. I know you can pick and choose. You either buy it, you don't buy it. But there's nothing like peer pressure for children, especially, and families having to sort of keep up with it. So I think the denial of any again sort of Christmas isn't too far away. It's a time where people are going to be spending generally be spending a lot of money. So to deny the club of that, and you're kind of going to have to bite your tongue, bite your lip, and just have to sort of stick with it. I think if we're going to sort of actually take that as a course of action as well, I will.
Looks like Ian's frozen up there. So we'll go to the next one, Willie, because it looks like Ian's, internet's dropped out. So Ian's taking part in the next one. Would you endorse and participate in a silent protest? Well, because he's frozen at the moment, he's silent protesting. There you go. What do you think, Willie?
Yeah, I mean that is a possibility. You know what I mean? Like, it'll be difficult if they score a good goal. You know what I mean? It's gonna be difficult to just sit there quietly. I mean, you could cheer the goal and then go back to just not singing. A European night at Celtic Park, doesn't matter which tournament they're in, is usually quite a noisy occasion. If that goes all silent, then somebody in that director's box is going to turn around and go, oh, "What's this all about?" You know what I mean? They're not going to be that aloof, surely.
Yeah. Yep. So we'll get the next one. Would you endorse and participate in a late entry protest? Yes was 93.7%. And then in line with that, would you endorse and participate in an early exit protest? Yes was 91.4%. So on those two, I answered yes, but as they discussed on the night was the majority of people would prefer walk-in protests instead of walkouts, and I'm of the same view. Like, I think it's a bit of a weird one where you walk out on your team when they're in the middle of performing for you. So I'd rather you look at it and go, all right, if we're going to do a protest so it's visible that people aren't in the stadium and the game has kicked off, and then whether it's 10 minutes or 20 minutes in or 15, whatever, suddenly all the people come flying into the crowd and fill the stands. That's a lot more of a thing that I would personally go for. Walk-ins, not walkouts. What do you think, Willie?
The late arrival would definitely make more impact than leaving early. I mean, there is I'm not going to say a large amount, but there is a lot of fans who leave early anyway. With 10 minutes to go, they'll try and beat the traffic and get out anyway, because you do normally see some people filtering out at that time anyway. So if you're going to be late arriving, it would make more of an impact for me and definitely be more visible.
Because the other thing, you can't just say it's protests outside the stadium, this and that. At the end of the day, if a game's on and then suddenly 20,000 people come walking in 10 minutes into the game or 20 minutes into the game, the commentators will have to point that out. The media will have to point that out, and it just keeps it present because it's people voting with their feet. So I think everyone would get into the game, into the ground pre-game, but then you just stay in the concourse for 10 minutes or so and then walk in. So that, at least that way you're not outside trying to get through the gates where the club can then lock you out. What are your thoughts, Ian, on walk-ins over walk-outs? And Ian's just dropped out. Anyway, yeah. bit of a... I have no idea what's going on here with Ian's thing. It's just trying to reconnect, and this is awkward as. So we'll look at some... I'll grab some comments in the meantime, Willie. They go, Dermot McCulloch is saying, late into stadium, especially on TV, will be great to see. And that's the main thing there. And then RL77 saying, can't agree with the silent protest as there's a possibility of overhearing Peter Grant's commentary. I didn't even think of that. You okay, Ian?
He's away again, is he?
No, it's frozen on him again. Lovely. So anyway, we'll crack on to the next couple of things I was talking about. So the next ones were... So no fans for first 10 minutes. They want to do walk-ins rather than walkouts. The non-executive directors need to be moved on from the thing. So Lorwell, Chris Mackay, Michael Nicholson, as we discussed early on. And then forming a democratic fan advisory board. So you have one Celtic PLC board member should be from this group, regardless. So basically saying one person from the share, like on the actual board, should be from the fan advisory board. What's your thoughts on that, Willie?
I think that would be a good idea because, like, if you had somebody from popular podcasting, whether it's Celts TV, Axom, the Celtic Exchange, one of these groups, you know what I mean? There are many, many of them out there, even yourself, Charlie, you know what I mean? You're in touch with fans. You see the opinion of them coming through your comment section, and I mean, Axom's comment section will just be ding, 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 ding by comparison to ours, like, but they are in touch with the fans, you know what I mean? And they listen to what other fans are saying, you know. I mean, you see it in the comment section, you bring up this comment, you bring up that comment, you agree with this one, you don't agree with that one. You're in touch with what the fans are saying, and you're in touch with what the fans want, sort of thing. Needs and wants. And yeah, I think it would be a very good idea to just have somebody who's down to earth and who's sort of realistic about what Celtic are as a club, and not somebody who's just got this opinion that it's a money-making venture for them.
So Ian's back. So we're just talking about fan advisory board and how one person from that should be on the actual PLC board. So that's what was discussed as well. And for me, just to set you up here, Ian, the talk is, say if you have like your CSC board. So if you have like the Irish supporters clubs have one person on the fan advisory board to look after them. The North American one has one on it. If you get one for Australia, New Zealand, they have someone on there. If you have from the podcast, a couple of people from podcasts, whether it's like someone from Axom, someone from 20 Minute Tim's, The Cynic, Celtic Underground, Harry Brady, whatever, these people, and get them in there. And if you give the people a one year limit, so whoever's leading that board and running it and has the spot on the actual board has that seat for 12 months. Then it goes to the next person on that board. And then they sit there for 12 months. So it's not just the same people getting cushy with the board. I think that would be the best way for it all to work. What are your thoughts on that, Ian?
Yeah, I agree. You know, that's that. I suppose if you take a podcast as an example, you know, we're all fans of the club, but we all have different opinions. You know, we all have a common goal, which is success for Celtic, but we all have various different opinions. So I think to revolve the various different voices is important, and it keeps it fresh. You know, so yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, the other ones I just left out by accident on the fan advisory board, and Charlie Reeds has brought him up here. So thanks, Charlie. People from the boys, people from the Green Brigade, we're going to be in there. And a few other things as well. I left them out by accident. North Curve, those guys. So they'll have chairs on that fan advisory board too. So I have no problem with that. I think it's great that everyone's pulling together. And yeah, it's all for the right thing here. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. But yeah, I'd definitely love it if different people jump on it all the time. So whether it's, as you're saying, so it could be 1 year, it could be some guy from the Green Brigade is on the board from the fan advisory board. Then the next year, it's someone from, could be Paul from Axon. Then the next one after that, it could be someone from the boys, or it could be someone from the Irish supporters club. I'm going to pick someone I know who over there. You could get Frank from, yeah, one of the CSCs over there. I've known Frankie for a while. He'd be great. Get him in there, and so on, and then see how you end up. It could be interesting. See how it plays out. So let's get Chrissy Boy from Auckland as the Australian New Zealand rep. Let's get him on that board with his language and everything he's saying, and then get him to represent all of us. That'd be absolute magic. Can't wait till he makes his debut on this pod too. It'll be absolute pisser. So yeah, it's just basically at the end of the day, as long as if that fan board happens, there's communication. And that picks up, and what's being discussed at the board is coming back and then being filtered out to the fan advisory board, and then everyone else who's part of that makes it up. Those 420 signatories that are there, I'm good for that. Happy to put my name on, and for Celtic Down Under, put our name on any statements if it's communicated back to us and we know what's going on. So I don't think this is going to make a massive change, though, and would happen until you get those 3 non-executive directors out of there. And if you can somehow find some magical billionaire to come in and, buy out a few other people, it'd be even better. Like there was rumours rumbling during the week about Fenway Sports Group looking at us. With what the 49ers have done with Rangers, they're apparently the owners of Boston Red Sox, who own Liverpool, are apparently floating around trying to piece up, are they going to buy shares? I've heard that from a few credible sources. I'd be good with that because I'm a Red Sox fan and a Celtic fan, so I'd be happy. But if we could have them come in and get rid of a few people, it'd be shake things up a bit too. Who knows?
The thing is, though, mate, we'd end up becoming a feeder club for Liverpool, and we're Celtic. I know what you mean in principle, but that's essentially what Rangers are. They're a feeder club for Leeds, and Rangers are too big to be a feeder club for anyone as well. I know there are rivals, but I would say that Rangers are a bigger club than Leeds. So Fenway Sports for Liverpool and for the Red Sox, they've done amazingly well. But I would be concerned if that actually came to fruition, because the reality of it would be quite different, I think, longer term.
Look, I'm not trying to say that they should, right? But what I'm getting at is, if something like that happened, it could work well. I don't see it happening because I don't see Dermot Desmond selling out his shares and the investment funds doing the same thing. But if it's something like 49ers own Leeds, but then Red Bull in the background own 25% of the club, if it's something like that, where there's still enough shares where other people out there are doing things, then great. We can talk. But if it's just come in and buy us and completely own us and turn us into a feeder club, then yeah, we'd have to discuss that a lot further and do a deep dive into it and everything. But yeah, at the end of the day, we are the mighty Glasgow Celtics, so let's do our damn thing. So we've got a game against Killy on Sunday, I think it is. Sunday, 3:00, if my memory is right. So what we'll do is I've got a couple of questions that I've got here. So how you feeling heading into the match, Ian? And what are your general thoughts on the game?
Well, Killie are kind of, I suppose they're archetypal bogey team, aren't they? They've done us over a few times, and that pitch is horrible as well. So Brendan's not got an amazing record against Killie, has he? We won the league there pretty much last season. Was it last season or the season before? My brain's getting old now, but again, like I said, when I sort of jumped on the start of the pod, it depends on the mood in the camp. We're either going to go one of two ways. We're either going to galvanise and go, right, let's knuckle down, boys, and just it's us against the world, or we're going to let that ingress, that kind of water ingress happen, and it's going to the cracks will sort of appear from within, will crumble. I hope it's not the latter. I hope we galvanise. I hope Brendan, because at the end of the day, this is Brendan's been sold a dummy, but it's affecting his reputation. If he wants to go and get a decent job somewhere else, it's going to tarnish him. If he doesn't win the league this year, it's going to tarnish him. So I'm hopeful that Brendan's got his his knuckle dusters out, dusted down, and he's gonna come out swinging, and have the team sort of fighting in that image. So I'm hopeful we're gonna. This is the litmus test, isn't it? We'll see. This is a marker for the rest of the season. I think how we the application is in this game.
I think the summary you're looking for there, Ian's pretty simple. Like, he wants to get on the job, but it's a couple of different sayings here. It's about the amount of fight in the dog, not the right. So he's got to get in there and show it. But the other thing is he going to go in there with big boy pants on and be ready to throw down and fight, or is he just going to be a little bitch and just sook it up because he didn't get his way? What are we going to get out of him? Because if that was me, I'd be looking like, these are the players I've got. This is the hand I'm dealt. All right, let's fucking go. Let's have a crack here. We know Killie's going to be tough. They don't have Derek McInnes. There were 10 players behind the ball. But let's get out there and let's just go hell for leather here and set a marker and say, let's get started. Let's do this.
Change the formation as well, mate. That's it's.
Come on, that's too much to ask.
But the thing is, though, if he keeps suggesting it and we fail, he's got no one else to blame but himself. And that I've posed the question before. Can he, but he won't, or just can't he do it? Is he incapable of doing it? Because it's even Guardiola, with the best players in the world at Barcelona and at Man City for that period, he changed things. He changed his tactics, to suit at times. It's predictable. So, we've got the best players in the league on paper, but mix it up. I mean, one up front at home against St Mirren. What the fuck is going on? It's ridiculous. But again, we're giving our opposition one way of planning to nullify us. They've only got to plan one way and work on it, and that's what everyone's doing now, especially in the third season.
Well, Willie, on that, you would have thought if he was going to change the formation now, he would have changed it before the qualifiers when we had no wingers and heaps of centre backs and go 3-5-2, right? So you would have thought if he was going to change formation, it would have happened by now. So what are your thoughts?
Brendan's got to come out swinging here. This is his last season at Celtic, and the last thing he needs is having a disastrous season, because he's going to want a better job next season, wherever he goes to, and he's got to produce the results this season. And if he does manage to win the league, which I think he will, I still believe we're going to scoosh this league. I still think we're too good for Scotland, and I just think he needs to, like you say, Jared. This is his hand. He has to play with it, and he has to shuffle the pack a little bit to just say, look, I'm going to have to play, instead of playing to my ideology, I'm going to have to play to the team strength. And that's where I think Ian's right as well, that we're going to have to tweak the formation. And for me, you either play two holding midfielders and have the front four just sort of rotating and going at it with the two fullbacks bombing on to try and give support, or you play three number 8s across the middle and have 3 in front of them that are just, again, rotating and having a go at it, and again using the fullbacks for width. So he has to go for it. I mean, Kilmarnock, you couldn't ask for a harder fixture to come back to after all this furrour that we've been going through, going to Stuart Kettlewell's side away from home on that Lego pitch. He's been playing a variation of 3-5-2, sort of 5-3-2 and 5-4-1. So you already know by those three formations they've played this season that they're going to be defensive and they're going to dig in. So it's going to be a low block we're going to witness. So it's up to us to break them down. So you can expect us to have a lot of possession and a lot of play in their half, with just trying to fucking battle our way through a packed box. So it's going to be a difficult game, but I think we'll come through it.
Yay, get ready. A good 80 minutes of watching us pass backwards and horseshoeing across the back. Fun times. So, realistically, boys, we'll get into the fun part. Are we going to see any debuts in this game? What's your starting lineup going to be? And your score prediction. So, do you want to go first, Dan?
So, do you want me to go through the whole team, or do you want me to sort of say the changes I think he might
Just do
make?
your whole team. Just go your whole team and then run off it from there.
All right, so I think Schmeichel picks himself. Despite the fact that Sinisalo, I think, would do all right. I think he's pretty ready. I think he proved that last year. So Schmeichel, left back KT, right back's going to be the Bricky Ralston. I think left centre back's going to be Scalesy, and I think right centre back will be CCV. I think then it'll be Kalmak in his usual position. And I think he'll go with Hatate and he will go with Negren. And I think Balakisha on the left and maybe the new boy on the right. I forgot his name.
Tanekti.
Yeah, with Maeda up front.
Cool. And score prediction.
Oh, right. So heart or head.
Go both.
Head says a draw. Heart says 3-1 to Celtic.
All right, I'm going to bring up James Allen Whipper's comment here saying Casper, Sriracha, CCV, Scales, Tierney, McGregor, Hatate, Negren, Balagusha, Ihanacho, and Tanekti. That's what he's saying there. Willie, what are you thinking?
I've got Schmeichel, Ralston, CCV, Scales, and Sriracha. I don't know if KT's injuries and this plastic pitch are going to be compatible, so I would probably play with the Uruguayan at left back. And I've gone 2 holding midfielders. I'm going to go Engels and Kalmak with Balakwisha, Negren, and Tanecki playing in front of them, and Maeda at the top of it in a 4-2-3-1.
So you've picked my exact team, Willie. So that's who I would have gone with exactly like that. So, but whether Engels is sitting as a 6 or he's up forward as playing the 8 role, that's what I would have done regardless. So, yeah, it's the exact team I would have picked. And, as Robert Gibson's saying, his score prediction was 0-0, still pish. For me, I'm actually thinking if we are going to get the 3 points, it's going to be one of those games where it's 1-1, 83rd minute, and then someone like the Bricky or Scales or some rando that you wouldn't expect it is just going to get a ricochet goal off a corner. It's going to come in. We're going to struggle to beat the first man. It's going to rattle around the top of the box. There's 20 men in the box because everyone's in there. They've parked the bus. And then somehow he hits it and it pinballs off about 6 different things and goes in the goal. It's going to be some absolutely ugly, ridiculous goal for us to win this game 2-1. There you go.
So you think that normally when things like that happen, it galvanises the team, and it's when they look back on the season and say, "Oh, that was the defining moment."
That's the turning point.
With this Brendan team, though, it's happened so many times where we think that's going to happen, then the next game looks shit.
It happens. Stock standard. So, did you give a score prediction, Willie? I can't remember.
I didn't. I think we're going to win 3-0.
There you go.
You got me doubting myself here. I think
Willie, the one of the most faith.
I think we'll get a goal and it'll be all right.
So, James Allen is saying again, KT 30-yard top corner thunder bastard winner. I'd take that. I would take that 100%. So, I think we'll wrap the pod up. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Again, if you haven't done so, hit like on the podcast and on the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the channel. Comment. Tell someone about it. Help us grow the channel. And, we'll finish off with a final thought. So, you got one ready, Willie?
Aye, Americans don't need gun control. They just need their guns taken off them altogether.
Ian?
Keep Brendan galvanise. Don't crumble. Galvanise. and let's come out swinging.
And my final thoughts, pretty simple. Let's get united, fan support, everything. It's great to see that unity. Let's keep it going. Let's grow from a place of great words. Let's make actions where we're all pulling in the same direction. Thanks everyone for tuning in. Appreciate it. Hail, hail.
Hail, hail, everyone.